Warning: the following podcast has been rated listener R due to strong language, violent situations, drug references, sexual innuendos, and who knows what else. Listener discretion is advised. With that being said, hang on, sugar tits, because we're about to get wobbled.
What is going on, guys? It's Clayton Wobble Elliott back with another episode of the Let's Get Wobble podcast. Unfortunately, I do not have a guest for tonight. I'm trying to get something lined up. I've got a few people that I really would like to talk to, and that's going to happen. I just have to figure out a schedule when I can get everybody in and get the topics lined up and get everything squared away so that way we can get those topics talked about. But I wanted to put out another episode for you guys so we can catch back up just so kind of you guys knew that I wasn't going to be bullshitting with this. I'm going to keep this ball rolling for sure, and I want you guys to have something to look forward to. So I'm going to do a recap of what happened over the last couple weeks since I recorded the first episode. It's probably going to be the majority of this episode is just kind of catching you guys back up some more, getting everybody back on track. And once we get everything back on track and to present day, then we'll start moving forward with some better topics and just some more shit that's going on, I guess, present day, I guess you would say, and maybe some more storytelling and some more laughing, joking bullshit later on. But just for now, I'll go ahead and get you guys caught back up. So I wanted to base this episode off of taking time for yourself and doing things for yourself to break the routine that you get stuck in. And I found myself really getting stuck in that routine while I was at work and just really trying to fucking push me down. So, this episode, I wanted to take some time out and I really wanted to focus on taking time out of your life for yourself and doing things for yourself again. I know I've talked about this in a previous episode, but it really hit home uh, these last couple weeks because I've gotten in the rut of working and just basically going to work, coming home, sleeping, waking up, doing things around the house, going back to work. And on the weekends, it's just catching up with shit around the house that you couldn't get done through the week. Everybody knows what kind of grind that is. It's extremely difficult. And with the summer coming up, there's going to be times where you can actually get out and get shit done, and you're just able to get out and do some things that you may not have been able to do previously. So it is extremely important. Make sure that you're taking time out for yourself. So just a couple weekends ago, it was just a random spur thing for like a Cinco de Mayo celebration we decided we were going to do. I just invited my family over to the house, to the new house. Like, hey, we're having a cookout. We're not doing much of anything. We're going to play some cards, bullshit, board games, maybe. We'll get into something, but I'm just doing some burgers and dogs on the grill. It was a weekend that I knew I had off, and my brother and his girlfriend had off. So it would have been a good time for everybody to come around and meet up. So even something small as that is just getting people around that you enjoy being around and inviting them over for something. It doesn't have to be super expensive. It doesn't have to be something where you go out and do something crazy. Just do yourself a favor and get out of that rut of the same thing all the time because it really does. It buries you and it blinds you. You don't even realize that it's going on. You don't realize that it's detrimental, really. I mean, you get stuck in those ruts and you can't get out of them and you don't even know what to do anymore. Another thing that just happened, I just got back from a event in Cleveland. So me and a couple of the brothers went up to Cleveland for the Greater Cleveland Peace Officer Memorial Society had put on their annual rededication of their wall for fallen officers. We did the parade up there. Basically, the whole weekend is about remembering fallen officers and the sacrifice that they make and humanizing the badge. I think that's very important too. People forget these people that wake up every morning and put a uniform on. It doesn't have to be somebody with a badge necessarily, I guess. I mean, you can say doctors and nurses and people like that too, but people who do put badges on, corrections officers, police officers, firefighters, and humanizing those people. People don't, I think people look at their job and just think that that job is who they are. They let the job define them, I guess. Some of this may not even fucking sound right coming out, but I think it's very important to humanize the badge and remember that the officers that you see out on their patrol routes, the officers you see making traffic stops and just doing their job, the officer that pulled you over in a traffic stop, or an officer that you see walking down the sidewalk, that person is a human still. That person has a life outside of work. And it's tragic that some people pay the ultimate sacrifice and wake up one morning putting their uniform on, and it'll be the last time that they ever put that uniform on again. Be the last time they ever walk out the door again. And it's horrible to think about, but somebody that does wake up and goes in for an 8 to 16-hour shift and knows that there's a possibility that anything could happen throughout my shift, you know, it's extremely difficult because you just get in a routine. You don't think about it. You just go in and do it. But it was a really good weekend. We went up to Cleveland. Me and my brothers. We met up with some other guys that they party with. So much great food. I will definitely be going back for the reason to go up to remember the officers, and the food that I had up in Cleveland was amazing. It was all planned out for us. We all went to different places, and oh, it was just so good. I can't even. It's hard to even think about all the shit that we did because it just seemed like those 4 days that we were up there flew by so fast. But we had a great time, spent it with some great people, met some great people. I've even talked about possibly having them on the podcast. I've also talked to some other warthogs. Like I said, all that stuff's to come in the future. So really hoping to do that so you guys get to meet some of the people that have been big in my life. And that wraps everything back around to what I kind of wanted to talk about today was not only do you have to get yourself out of the rut in life that you're in, but surrounding yourself with people who make that easier to do because it's hard to do it yourself. It's hard to do anything yourself. I've been talking about possibly going to the gym after work and hanging out with some of the guys that go to the gym after work, but I'm just not really a gym rat. I never have been. Back when I was in high school, you know, we had to lift for sports, and it was a mandatory lift. You had to show up. And I hated that it was mandatory because I was never a gym rat. I didn't like being in the gym. I'm not gonna lie, I would short my reps in high school just because I didn't want to be there. I don't fucking want to be there. I would rather be out on the field doing shit than being in the gym focusing on how much I can fucking bench or the reps that I can hit out. But that was just my mindset at the time. But surrounding yourself with people who push you to do better for yourself because they know you just as well as you do, if not better. So I think that's extremely beneficial. And one of the quotes that I wanted to bring back around today is make time for the people you love and surround yourself with optimistic people that will always uplift you. It's those people that you're going to share your life with, and it's those people that will make your life worth living itself. And I had that quote in my notes, and I knew I wanted to tie it in somewhere. And this feel like was a great weekend for me, especially going up to Cleveland and spending it with some brothers that I'm super close with in the motorcycle club and some people that I had never even met before, but were just good people. Really helped me get out of the rut that I had been in work and everything. And taking the time off work to go and do and be a part of this was amazing in and of itself. But the people that I surround myself with, like minded people and good, amazing fucking people. I mean, these people who I hope to eventually have on or at least talk more about are just all heroes to me, people that I look up to. You know, they may not see themselves as heroes, they may see themselves as just another average Joe, but people who really are beneficial to me and somebody that I can look up to and take something from. You know, it's it's just wild to think about the reason that maybe God brings these people into your life and whether you let them in or not, and what you learn from these people as you watch them and you're with them. But surrounding yourself with good people and optimistic people at that, people that know you. You know, if you surround yourself with negativity, that negativity is going to draw you down. It's plain and simple. You know, surround yourself and put yourself in a good atmosphere and good things are going to happen. It's just you're not going to put yourself in a bad situation and hope that good shit comes out of it. It never does. And if it does, you're extremely fucking lucky about it. But when you do that, it's those people that make your life worth living and making the experience that much better. That probably wouldn't have even went up if it wasn't for those guys telling me like, "Hey, you got to go. This is really something that's it's a somber event, but at the same time, it's so good to go up and be a part of and be a reason why people don't forget fallen officers." And you being there yourself, remembering the people that you or other people have lost and officers in the line of duty, and they do it every year, and I can't wait to go back up again next year, hang out with the same people, do the same kind of things, and it was just a really good time. I had a blast with it. But it's those people that you hang out with and those people that you surround yourself with that'll make your life worth living, and it's worth sharing those events with. So one night I wasn't feeling the greatest. We went out to a bar, wasn't feeling great. I was like, well, I'll go and have a good time, whatever. And just ended up, like I said, I had a stomach bug and fuck, wasn't feeling good that day. So Friday we go out, and it's these guys' goal. They're telling me, like, dude, we got to get you out. We got to get you partying. It's going to be a good night. We're going to hang out, whatever. So, of course, we start drinking, having a good time. Things were so much better on Friday night. I had such a good time on Friday. I'm not much of a person. I like hanging out at bars every once in a while, but if I'm gonna go get super drunk, I like to do it in like a safe place or whatever. But the people that I hang out with the motorcycle club, those guys are good at getting me out of my comfort zone and doing shit. So we end up walking from this bar to a karaoke bar, which I sing in the shower, but that's about it. I'm not much of a singer at all. But we get down to this karaoke bar and we had a fucking blast with all the people that we were with, the Warthogs, the Canadian guys that we were hanging out with. Um, Everybody at this event was some sort of public safety official, pretty much. I mean, there's other civilians and stuff there, which is we surrounded ourselves with just great people who really care about what's going on that weekend, and it's a great time. But the people we were mostly hanging out with were Warthogs or Canadian peace officers or Canadian public servants that just were great fucking people. They're funny to be around. They like to laugh and joke and party, have a good time, but they're also just fucking chill dudes. But we end up at this fucking karaoke bar and we're all drinking, having a good time, singing, laughing, bullshit, and whatever. Next thing you know, we're closing that bar down, going back to the other one that we were at, and just we had a great time. And I think that with those people in your life that you find are comfortable around and people that help you get out of those ruts in life, and you just leave the shit that you brought, the baggage that you brought on your shoulders, the weight you're carrying, and the people that you hang around with really help you get rid of that negativity and that shit and help you just release the fucking weight that you're carrying so you can have a good time. I actually, one of the big drinks that we had down there a lot was Tito's and lemonade. And it was funny because I drink a little bit of Tito's here and there before, but I've never really had a bunch of it. I didn't find anything that really I could mix it with that was really that great. But we started mixing the Tito's and lemonade at all these places we were at, and it was going down so fucking good. When I come back home this weekend, I told Kristen we were doing a seafood boil, and I was like, I don't care, we got to go get the stuff for it anyways, but I'm gonna grab some Tito's and lemonade when I get back home, just because it was hitting some kind of way, and I got a whole cup of it sitting right here beside me. So not getting too wobbled tonight, but I'm just enjoying myself, and I wanted to bring you guys up to speed on what was going on and the fun that I had over the weekend. It was a great time. Playboy, Scout, Heimdall, you guys were all great company. I don't know if you guys listened to it, but a big shout out to you guys. You guys made it a great time. Half Stick, you also made it a wonderful weekend with all the shit that all the stories that you told, and just being around us while we're up there. I had a great time with all you guys and the Canadians. I hope they decide that they were going to listen to it. I know we've talked to them, or I've talked to them, and they said, "Oh yeah, they wanted to listen to it." They all wanted to be on. So I told them, I said, for sure, we're going to figure something out where we can get you guys on and talk shit, talk cigars, talk bourbon, talk whiskey, whatever. Just hopefully we get to talk to you guys about it. So at the end of all this, we're on the way back home. Everybody kind of goes their separate way. We all follow each other back home on the bikes. It was one thing I couldn't complain about on the way up and the way back. The weather was beautiful. Nothing but sunshine, blue skies. While we were up there, it rained a little bit, but if you've ever ridden motorcycle in the rain, you guys know it can get miserable sometimes. And luckily, it rained during the parade, but it wasn't very miserable. It was just a steady, light rain. It wasn't nothing we couldn't handle or anything like that. It was just for a parade, anyways. But on the way back, it was a beautiful ride. I'm going to preference this by saying while I was up there, I went to show somebody this new security camera that I had been using. Um, we had purchased for the house just to kind of keep an eye on the dogs and just an eye on the house if we weren't around. And I was going to show one of the guys that, oh, this new security camera we're using, blah, blah, whatever, live feed on my phone, whatever. I pull it up and it says that there's no connection to the camera. I'm like, well, that's fucking weird because the internet's right next to the camera. So I'm trying to figure out why the fuck it's not working. So I text Kristen. I'm like, hey, something's up with the camera. And I sent her the screenshot of the camera being out of service. She's like, that's weird, blah, 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 whatever. She also texted me earlier on in the weekend and asked me if I knew where the drill was. I'm like, I don't know where the drill is. It's probably out in the garage. If I have one, I can't even remember if I even have one. I might have borrowed one from somebody, but I couldn't remember. And all that shit slipped my mind. I didn't think anything else about it. She just asked a couple simple questions, but that was it. So I come home from the event. I'm telling her all about how the weekend went and whatever. And she's like, I got a surprise to show you. I was like, okay, whatever. And I had already kind of thought I knew what she had did, but I was completely wrong. When I parked the motorcycle in the garage, I saw the poker table was out in the garage, and our house is just super small. We have a bunch of storage outside, but for shit that we do need inside, we need to store inside. There's not a whole lot of room for it. So I was storing the poker table in my game room, in my podcasting little room that I kind of got set up. So I saw it out in the garage. I was like, okay, she moved that. So she might have cleaned up the room a little bit. That's what I thought maybe she was doing. So I come to the door of the podcasting room and she's like, here's your surprise. Go ahead and open the door. I open the door and this girl, God bless her heart, that she did all this without me even knowing. She didn't even have to do any of it. I was perfectly fine with the setup that I had before, but she repainted the entire room. It was a real dark gray color at first. My brother, when he was living in here, we told him he could pick any color that he wanted to paint the room because we didn't really care. Well, when he painted the room, it was actually kind of a color that we really didn't like, but it was whatever it was, you know. We didn't really care at the time because we weren't using the room. But then when I started using the room for podcasting, it just didn't look the greatest while we were in here. So she took it upon herself. She took everything out of the room, repainted all of it, and she unplugged the security camera, which is why it wouldn't work. She had all the shit in the living room while she was painting the room in here, and that's why the security camera wasn't working. But she repainted the room. On one of the walls, she taped off different sections of the wall and painted it all different colors. So it's like red and a light gray and a dark gray and white, and it just looks really cool. Those are the kind of colors that I like for being an Ohio State fan. She hung up different signs, Buckeye posters, my Let's Get Wobbled background poster that she made me. She put up a cigar poster, my chip holder for my Harley Davidson poker chips. She hung all this stuff up. She strung lights all across the room. The lights are all kinds of different colors. It looked amazing. She bought a futon here in the side of the room here too. So if I have guests over or whatever and they want to hang out, we can sit on the futon or whatever and bullshit and record a podcast. It blew my mind. I'm not one like normally when people surprise me, I'm like, oh thanks, that's really cool, whatever. I was fucking speechless. I had no idea she was doing this. I didn't have a clue. But it is just I can see myself spending more time in here now playing Xbox or recording podcasts and just spending time in this little area that I call mine now. And it was really cool that she did that for me, even though she knew she didn't have to. There wasn't any hurry or anything that we really wanted to do with this. She had this vision in her mind and just did it herself. And I think that was the coolest thing. And I still, now, I've seen this room for 2, 3 days and I still keep looking around the room and like, man, this is fucking cool. This is just awesome. I love it. So I want to send out a huge thank you to her. I know she's going to listen to this episode. She's very supportive of the podcast and what I do. And I thank her so much for all that she puts up with. I don't tell her enough. She puts up with a lot of bullshit from me. As from the bullshit that I bring home from work, the bullshit that I give her while I'm here at the house, especially with this brand new puppy that we have. We both talked about getting a dog together, and we knew we were ready for one after my brother had moved out, but we just didn't really know what we wanted. And she is a diehard fan of Boston Terriers. She loves Boston Terriers. So she found a Boston Terrier puppy, decently priced. She brought him home. I fell in love with the little guy too. I'm not a huge fan of Boston Terriers, but he's really fucking pulling on my heartstrings. He's good. He's a really good pup. He's doesn't get into too much shit. He gets into just enough to piss me off, but it's not horrible. He's still puppy, and I understand that. So we got the puppy together, but she just she puts up with so much, and she does so much for me, and I never get a chance to really sit down and thank her a whole lot just because of all the shit that I do, and I know I need to do better at that in my personal life. So, I mean, I guess if that's something you want to take from the podcast, surround yourself with good people and tell your loved ones how much they really mean to you. Because I'm telling you, those people are not going to be around forever. I'm really thankful that I have who I have in my life, and I haven't really expressed to them how much they mean to me here lately. You got to keep up with that shit because one of these days they're not going to be around for you to tell them that anymore. But not to get that shit. I don't want it all fucking to be sad and shit. I want this to be a good episode. But Kristen wanted. We even talked about it a little bit too about like kind of what the topic was going to be about this episode. And she even mentioned humanizing the badge, like how people are seen in the workforce, and it doesn't matter what career there is. You can wear a badge, you can wear a suit, you can wear a tie, you can wear scrubs, you can work at a bank, you can work at a fucking computer desk. And there's always going to be a bad apple. Everybody kind of compares bad apples, but there's always going to be somewhere that just somebody doesn't fit. They don't meet the standards of everybody else. And unfortunately, it's one of those situations where you're guilty by association. You're associated with that company. So therefore, if when they do something and it fucks up or they fuck up tremendously, it comes back on your name because people don't look and say, well, that person fucked up. They look at your company or your district or your whatever you guys work for, and they're like, they fucked up as a unit. And it's not the case because it normally just involves those one or two bad apples, and they pull the rest of the fucking whatever you are, a business or whatever, the rest of the people down in the mud. But, you know, humanizing those people and just simply thanking them for what they do. I don't think people realize just how much just a simple thank you goes. There's so many jobs in the US, I think that people's jobs just go, I don't know, overlooked, I guess, as a lack of, I wanted a better word for that, but I'm not super smart, you know. But just thanking somebody and telling them that you appreciate what they do. Maybe taking a look at what they do and taking a deeper dive into that versus just what it is on the surface, and just telling them, hey, listen, I appreciate you. I know your job's probably shit and you probably have bad fucking days, and I'm sure that you fucking hate your job sometimes, but I appreciate what you do. Just something as simple as that could really change somebody's day and their outlook on what the fuck's going on. Believe me, I've been in those situations, and I hope that I've put other people out of those situations and helped them out with just a simple thank you. But I know we're running short episodes this here lately. I'm gonna find topics, I promise. I just didn't really have a whole big topic to talk about this time around. Definitely looking forward to getting some more people on. I've reached out to a guy from work. I want to get him on. Talk about some things that happens outside of work and the wedding that I was a part of with him. I talked to one of the guys from the motorcycle club during that weekend. I know he was pissed off. Playboy, I'm gonna throw your name under here. Hopefully you listen to this. He's pissed because I've done this whole fucking podcast for as long as I've done it, and he's not been on. And I have no excuse because he has Sundays off. I have Sundays off. There's no fucking reason that we can't sit down on a Sunday and record a quick podcast. That's going to happen. Um, but we're hoping to get that shit started and get the ball really rolling so that way you guys have some good content to take from. But until next time, guys, please hang in there with me. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Until next time, stay wobbled. See you guys.